Ravi was a young human explorer who loved the stars more than anything else. For years he had traveled alone in his small repair ship, moving from one sector of the galaxy to another. He fixed old machines, mapped new regions, and collected stories from forgotten worlds. To him, every new planet was a chance to learn something new, and every signal in space was a mystery waiting to be solved. One day, while he was studying a bright nebula filled with colors of blue and gold, his ship received a strange distress signal. The voice was not clear, but the sound carried fear and urgency. The signal repeated again and again, calling for help. Ravi leaned forward in his chair and began to trace the location. It came from a world not far from his position. Without a second thought, he changed his course. His heart beat faster, for he had always dreamed of helping someone beyond the stars. As he approached the planet, his ship started to shake. A strong pull of energy came from the surface, dragging the ship down. Ravi tried to control the descent, pressing buttons and pulling levers, but nothing worked. Sparks flew across the control panel. The ship crashed into a wide desert, sliding across the sand before it stopped. Smoke rose from the broken engines and lights flickered weakly. Ravi coughed, unfastened his belt, and stepped outside with his protective armor still on. The air was heavy but breathable. Strange twin suns shone in the sky, casting long shadows across the dunes. In the distance, Ravi heard sounds that were not natural. They were sharp and metallic, like the grinding of machines. He followed the noise carefully, moving through the desert rocks until he reached a narrow valley. There he saw a scene that made him freeze. A royal caravan of shining vehicles was under attack. Strange robotic beasts with long metal claws and glowing eyes leaped at the guards who struggled to fight back. Some guards were already down, their weapons scattered on the ground. In the center of the chaos, a tall figure in a silver robe stood, surrounded by frightened attendants. Ravi's eyes fixed on her. She was not human, but her form was close. Her skin shimmered faintly under the sunlight, and her eyes glowed like crystals. She was clearly someone important, and she was in danger. Ravi knew his armor was damaged from the crash. Its energy shield was weak, and many of its parts were cracked. Still, he could not stand by and watch. He picked up a broken metal rod from the sand and rushed forward. His steps were heavy, but his heart pushed him ahead. One of the robotic beasts leaped toward the silver-robed figure. Before it could strike, Ravi swung the rod with all his strength. The blow landed hard against the robot's head, sending sparks into the air. The creature fell to the ground, twitching. The figure turned and looked at him with wide eyes, clearly surprised to see a human. More robots came. Ravi blocked one attack with his damaged armor, but the force made him stumble. His shield cracked further, glowing faintly. Another robot jumped at him and he rolled to the side, hitting it with the rod until it stopped moving. He breathed hard, his arms aching, but he stood firm. The guards, seeing his courage, regained their strength and fought with him. Together they pushed back the robots, forcing the remaining ones to retreat into the hills. Silence fell over the valley at last, broken only by the sound of sparks fading from the destroyed machines. The silver-robed figure stepped closer. She looked young, her face calm yet filled with pride. She raised her hand slightly and the guards lowered their weapons. She studied Ravi carefully as if trying to understand what kind of being he was. "Who are you?" she asked in a clear voice. Ravi removed his cracked helmet, showing his human face. He bowed slightly out of respect. "My name is Ravi. I came because I heard your call for help." The figure looked at him with both surprise and curiosity. "You are human. I did not expect one of your kind here." Ravi gave a small smile, though his chest still rose and fell quickly from the fight. "I did not expect to be here either. My ship was pulled down, but if you need help, I will do what I can." She studied him for a long moment, then nodded slowly. "I am Princess Amira of the Valen Empire. You saved me from certain danger. For that, I am in your debt." The guards around her shifted uneasily, whispering among themselves. They seemed uncertain about allowing a human so close to their princess. Ravi noticed their doubt, but he stood quietly, not wishing to cause alarm. Amira raised her hand again, silencing the whispers. She looked at Ravi, and her eyes shone softly as though she saw something beyond his broken armor. "You are far from home, Ravi, yet you risked yourself without question. That is rare." Ravi lowered his gaze modestly. Anyone would have done the same, but deep inside he knew not everyone would. His decision had been made in the heat of the moment, not for reward or honor, but because he could not ignore a cry for help. As the suns began to set behind the desert hills, Casting golden light across the sand, Amira motioned for him to walk beside her. The guards still watched him carefully, but she ignored their doubt. Ravi followed, his armor cracked and heavy, his ship ruined behind him. Yet something in his heart told him that this meeting was only the beginning of a journey greater than he had ever dreamed. The desert night was colder than Ravi expected. The twin suns had set behind the rocky hills, and the air carried a sharp chill. The guards of Princess Amira lit small blue flames on their staffs to guide the way. The caravan, damaged from the attack, could not move further, so they set up camp among the rocks. Ravi sat apart from the group, repairing the cracks in his armor with simple tools. Sparks glowed as he worked, though he knew the suit would never return to full strength. He had lost much of its power during the fight with the machines. The armor's energy shield was gone and only its hard plates remained. Even so, he wanted it to hold together, for it was his last link to home. As he worked, he noticed Princess Amira speaking softly with her attendants. She seemed calm, yet her eyes carried a shadow of worry. Finally, she walked toward him. Her steps were graceful, her robe flowing behind her. The guards moved as if to follow, but she raised her hand and they stayed back. "You fight with courage," she said. "But your armor looks fragile now. Can it still protect you?" Ravi gave a small smile. "It will protect me enough. What matters more is that I am careful. Armor can break, but choices decide survival." Amira studied his words, then sat down near him on a flat rock. She did not fear being close to him, though her people still looked uncertain. "You are unlike the stories I heard of humans. Many say your kind is weak, always wandering, never belonging anywhere." Ravi tightened a screw on his armor and looked up. "Maybe there is truth in that. We travel because we are searching. Some search for wealth, some for knowledge, and some for a place where they are welcome. For me, I only wanted to see the stars. But tonight I think I was meant to be here." Amira lowered her eyes thoughtfully. She remained silent for a while, then spoke in a quieter voice. "The machines that attacked us were not wild. They were sent. I was taken from my city by raiders who serve a hidden enemy. I escaped, but they will not stop. They hunt me because I am the heir to my mother's throne. If they capture me again, the empire will fall into danger." Her words were heavy, but Ravi listened with steady eyes. He understood now why the machines had been so determined. "Then we cannot stay here long," he said. "They will return," Amira nodded. "We must reach the crystal caves by dawn. The caves hide secret paths that lead back to the capital. But the way is dangerous, and without the caravan's full strength, we may not survive the journey." Ravi placed down his tools and stood. His armor gave a soft creak as he moved, but his spirit felt stronger than before. "I will walk with you. My ship is lost and I have nowhere else to go. If danger comes, I will face it with you." Amira's eyes softened. "You would risk yourself again even though you owe us nothing?" "Yes," Ravi answered simply. "Because I heard your call and I cannot ignore it." For a long moment, Amira said nothing. She only looked at him with an expression that mixed gratitude with wonder. Then she rose and gave a small bow of respect. "Then walk with me, Ravi of the Stars. You may be far from your world, but you are not alone here." The journey began before the first light of morning. The group moved quietly across the desert, guided by Amira at the front. Ravi walked beside her, holding a simple spear made from broken metal. His armor clinked faintly, but he kept his step steady. As they moved, shadows passed over the sand. Small flying machines circled above, scanning the ground. The group hid beneath rocks whenever the machines came close. Ravi studied the patterns of their flight and whispered to Amira when it was safe to move again. His quick thinking saved them more than once, and the guards began to see him with less doubt. By midday, the group reached the edge of the crystal caves. The entrance rose like a giant mouth in the mountain, glowing faintly with light from within. But just as they prepared to enter, the ground shook. From the cliffs above, more robotic beasts descended, their claws gleaming. The guards raised their weapons, forming a wall around the princess. Ravi stood at her side, gripping his spear. His armor had no shield now, only hard plates. He felt the weight of risk, but his heart was steady. The machines charged, and the guards fought bravely, but their numbers were small. Ravi rushed forward, striking one machine in the joint. Sparks burst and it fell. Another leaped at Amira, but Ravi blocked it with his arm. The armor cracked again, leaving his skin bare beneath. Pain shot through him, but he pushed forward, striking until the machine stopped moving. Amira watched with wide eyes. She had seen many warriors in her life, but none like him. His strength was not born from power or training, but from his refusal to step back. The group pressed into the caves. using the narrow paths to slow the machines. Inside, the walls glowed with crystal light, casting strange reflections. The machines struggled to follow, and soon only silence filled the air again. Amira placed her hand on Ravi's shoulder. "You protect me with your own body. Why do you do this, human?" Ravi breathed deeply. His armor cracked further, his hands sore. "Because life means nothing if we do not protect each other. You are in danger and I can help. That is enough reason." Amira's eyes shone in the crystal light. She gave a small nod, her voice soft yet firm. "Then perhaps the stories of humans are wrong. Perhaps there is more to your kind than we believed." Together they walked deeper into the crystal caves, their path glowing with light. Ahead lay danger, but also the chance for trust to grow between a human wanderer and an alien princess whose world needed hope. The crystal caves stretched for miles beneath the desert, glowing with soft light from the walls. The crystals hummed faintly, filling the air with a sound like distant music. For Princess Amira, the caves were sacred, filled with old legends of her people. For Ravi, they were a mystery, unlike anything he had ever seen in his journeys across the stars. The group moved slowly, guided by the shining paths. Ravi walked near Amira, his broken armor scraping against the rocks. His body ached from the earlier fight, but he kept his steps steady. The princess often glanced at him, as if weighing his strength against the danger that still followed them. When they stopped to rest, Amira sat beside him. "You are hurt," she said quietly. Ravi shook his head. "Only scratches. I can walk," but Amira's sharp eyes caught the truth. A crack ran down the side of his armor, and the faint glow of its systems had almost vanished. She knew his protection was nearly gone, yet he spoke with calm courage. As they rested, one of the guards approached Amira. "Your Highness," he said in a low voice, "we cannot trust this human fully. He fights bravely, but he is not one of us. What if he has another reason for being here?" Amira looked at Ravi, who sat sharpening the edge of his metal spear. She remembered how he had stood between her and the machines, taking blows that could have ended him. She shook her head firmly. "He has already proven his heart. Without him, I would not be here now." The guard bowed and stepped back, though doubt still remained in his eyes. Not long after, the ground shook. A deep roar echoed through the caves, followed by the screech of metal. From the shadows, a larger machine appeared. Unlike the smaller ones, this one was built like a giant beast, its body covered in dark armor, its glowing eyes fixed on Amira. The air grew tense as the guards raised their weapons. The machine charged, crushing crystals beneath its heavy steps. The guards tried to block its path, but its strength was too great. It threw them aside with powerful swipes of its claws. Amira stood frozen for a moment, staring at the danger rushing toward her. Ravi moved without thinking. He pushed Amira aside and faced the machine head-on. His armor cracked further as the beast struck him, sending him crashing into a wall. Pain shot through his body, but he rose again, gripping his spear tightly. The fight was fierce. Ravi dodged the beast's claws, striking at its joints. Sparks flew, but the machine did not stop. It slammed its weight against him, breaking more of his armor. A shoulder plate snapped off, clattering to the ground. His energy core flickered weakly, then went dark. Amira cried out, "Ravi, stop, you cannot fight it alone." But Ravi did not stop. He pulled off the last broken piece of his chest armor and threw it aside. Now unprotected, he faced the beast with only his human strength and his damaged spear. His breaths came heavy, but his eyes were steady. He leaped aside as the beast lunged, then drove his spear into the glowing joint of its leg. The machine stumbled, roaring in a metallic scream. Ravi used the moment to climb onto its back. With his bare hands, he pulled at the wires exposed near its neck, sparks burning his skin. The machine thrashed, slamming against the walls, but Ravi held on. At last, with one final pull, the wires snapped. The beast shuddered, its glowing eyes dimmed, and it collapsed to the ground with a crash that shook the cave. Silence followed, broken only by the sound of Ravi's heavy breathing. He slid down from the machine, his body trembling. His armor was gone now, only broken pieces scattered across the ground. His arms were cut and bruised, and his face was pale from exhaustion. Yet he still stood tall, holding the broken spear in his hand. Amira rushed to him, her eyes wide with concern. She placed her hand gently on his arm. "You broke your own armor to protect me. Why would you give up the only thing keeping you safe?" Ravi looked at her, his face calm, though his body hurt deeply. "Armor is only metal. It can be replaced. But a life cannot. If I must choose, I choose to protect you." Amira's eyes shone with emotion. She had seen many warriors in her empire, but none had ever spoken with such simple truth. She understood now that his strength was not in his armor or weapons, but in his heart. The guards, though still cautious, began to look at Ravi with new respect. They had seen his sacrifice and could not deny his courage. One of them even stepped forward and bowed slightly, a rare gesture from a Velan guard to an outsider. As the group continued deeper into the caves, Ravi walked without armor, his body bare to danger. Yet he felt lighter somehow, as if losing the armor had freed him. Amira walked close beside him, her gaze soft but firm as though she had decided something important in her heart. The path ahead was still uncertain. More dangers would surely come and the machines would not give up their hunt. But Ravi had shown that he did not need armor to stand against fear. His broken suit lay behind him, but his unbroken spirit carried him forward. Amira looked at him once more, her voice quiet but strong. Ravi, you are not like any human I have ever heard of. You may be far from your world, but you have already become part of mine. Her words echoed in his heart as they walked deeper into the shining caves, where new trials waited for them both. The crystal caves carried Ravi, Amira, and the guards through long winding tunnels. At last the glowing paths opened to a wide gate carved into the mountain. Ancient runes lined the walls and tall doors made of silver stone stood waiting. With effort, the guards pushed them open and a wave of fresh air rushed in. Beyond the gate stretched a wide valley filled with green fields, rivers, and shining towers. The capital of the Velan Empire rose in the distance, its spires reaching toward the twin suns. The sight made Ravi stop in awe. He had traveled to many places, but he had never seen such beauty. The city shimmered as if made of crystal and light. Amira looked at him with a faint smile. This is Velaris, the heart of my people. Here the queen waits. The group moved down the path, crossing bridges that glowed with energy. People of the city stopped to stare as they passed. Some bowed deeply to the princess, but when their eyes fell on Ravi, whispers spread among them. A human walking beside royalty was something they had never imagined. Ravi felt the weight of their stares. His armor was gone, leaving him in torn clothes. His skin was scratched, and his spear was nothing more than broken metal. He looked out of place among the shining towers and graceful citizens. Still, he walked with his head high, not out of pride, but out of respect for Amira. At last, they reached the palace. Its walls glistened like diamonds under the suns, and great banners of silver hung from tall pillars. The gates opened, and the group entered the grand hall. The floor shone like polished glass, and tall windows filled the chamber with colored light. At the far end sat the Queen of Velan, her presence commanding yet calm. She was tall, her robe flowing like water, her crown set with crystals that caught the light. Her eyes, sharp and glowing, turned toward Amira first. The hall grew silent as she rose and stepped down from her throne. Amira, my child, the queen said, her voice firm but filled with relief. You have returned to me. Amira bowed deeply. Mother, I am safe because of him. She turned and gestured toward Ravi. The queen's gaze shifted to the human standing beside her daughter. The guards in the hall raised their weapons slightly as if ready to strike. Ravi bowed low, showing respect, though he felt every eye fixed on him. You bring a human into my hall? The queen asked, her voice calm but edged with doubt. Why, Amira? Amira lifted her head. Because he saved me again and again. When machines chased me, he stood against them, though his armor broke. When I could not run, he shielded me with his own body. Without him, I would not stand here now. The queen's eyes narrowed slightly. She walked closer, her steps echoing on the floor. She circled Ravi slowly, studying him with the sharp gaze of a ruler who trusted nothing easily. Human, she said at last. What is your purpose here? Did you come seeking wealth or power or favor from my daughter? Ravi lifted his head and met her gaze calmly. I came because I heard a voice calling for help. My ship was pulled down and I found your daughter in danger. I have nothing left, no ship, no armor, no home. Yet if I must choose, I will always stand to protect her, even if it cost me my life. The hall was silent after his words. The queen studied him, her expression unreadable. The guards shifted uneasily, whispering among themselves. To them, a human was weak and untrustworthy, yet his voice carried no lie. Amira stepped forward. Mother, I trust him. Please, see his heart as I have seen it. The queen looked at her daughter, then back at Ravi. Words are easy. Deeds are harder. You say you will protect, but can you prove it? In this palace, trust is not given freely. It must be earned. She turned to her guards. Prepare the Hall of Echoes. The guards bowed and left quickly. Ravi looked at Amira, who gave him a steady gaze. The Hall of Echoes is a test, she whispered. It reveals the truth of a person's spirit. If your heart is false, it will break you. If it is true, it will shine. Ravi nodded slowly. Then I will walk through it. Amira's hand brushed his arm gently. Be careful. Many who entered never returned the same. Soon the guards returned and led Ravi to a tall door at the side of the throne. The queen's voice echoed through the hall. If you wish to stand beside my daughter, human, you must prove yourself to the Hall of Echoes. Let it show us who you are. Ravi bowed once more. I will enter. The great door opened and darkness lay beyond. He stepped forward, the sound of the hall fading behind him. Amira watched with worried eyes, her hands clenched tightly, while the queen stood tall, her face calm yet watchful. The door closed with a deep sound, leaving Ravi alone in the Hall of Echoes. Ahead, a faint light glimmered, waiting for him to walk forward. He took a deep breath, his broken clothes hanging loosely on his body, but his heart steady. Whatever awaited him inside, he knew this was the moment that would decide his place in this world. The Hall of Echoes was silent except for Ravi's footsteps. The walls were tall and smooth, glowing faintly with silver light. The air inside was heavy, as if it carried the weight of many secrets. Ravi walked slowly, his eyes searching the empty chamber. There were no guards, no voices, only the echo of his steps following him like a shadow. Then the light around him shifted. The walls shimmered and shapes began to form. At first, Ravi thought they were reflections, but soon he realized they were visions. The hall was alive, showing him pieces of his past and testing his spirit. He saw himself as a boy standing alone on Earth, looking up at the sky filled with stars. He remembered the feeling of being small, of wanting to go beyond the horizon. The vision spoke with his own voice, but it sounded colder. Why do you wander, Ravi? You left your home, your people, and everything you knew. Was it because you wanted to help others? Or because you were running away? Ravi clenched his fist but answered calmly. I left because I wanted to see more. The stars called to me. I was not running away. I was searching. The vision faded and another took its place. He now stood in the desert again, fighting the machines. This time the illusion whispered, you could have run. You could have saved yourself. Why risk your life for a stranger from another world? Ravi looked at the image of himself standing over Amira, his armor broken, his spear raised. Because no one deserves to be left in danger. If I hear a cry for help, I cannot ignore it. That is who I am. The illusion trembled, then melted away. The hall was testing him harder now. From the shadows appeared a new vision. This time it was Amira herself looking at him with cold eyes. Human, the vision said. You only saved me because you wanted reward. You hope for riches, for a crown, for power beside me. Admit it, or the hall will know your lie. The words cut deep, but Ravi stood firm. I did not save Amira for reward. When I ran into that valley, I did not know who she was. Princess or common traveler, it made no difference. I acted because she was in danger and I could not walk away. The vision of Amira flickered, then broke apart like smoke. The hall seemed to hum louder, as if listening closely. At last, the hardest vision appeared. Ravi now stood in a chamber filled with light. Before him was a door that opened to the stars. Beyond it, he saw Earth, his home world, waiting for him. He could return, leaving behind the empire, the machines, and the danger. A voice whispered in his ear, you can leave now. Step through the door and you will be safe. No more battles, no more broken armor. Forget the princess, forget the empire. This is your chance to escape. Ravi's chest tightened. For a moment he longed for the safety of Earth, for the quiet of his old life. His hands shook slightly, but then he closed his eyes and thought of Amira's face, of her trust in him and of her words in the caves. He thought of the people of Veylan who lived under threat, and how his choice might change their future. He opened his eyes and stepped back from the door. No, he said firmly. I will not leave. I heard her call for help and I answered it. My place is here by her side until she is safe. The door to Earth vanished, leaving only the glowing walls of the hall. A soft light filled the chamber, brighter than before. It wrapped around Ravi like a warm flame, washing away the shadows. The hall had seen his truth and accepted it. When the great door behind him opened again, he stepped out into the grand hall of the palace. The guard straightened and the queen watched him closely. Amira rushed forward, her eyes filled with worry. "Ravi," she said softly, "are you whole?" He nodded, though he looked weary. "The hall tested me. It showed me doubts, fears, and temptations. But I chose to stay true." The queen's eyes glowed faintly as though she had sensed the truth herself. She stepped down from her throne and faced him directly. The hall grew silent as every eye watched. "The Hall of Echoes does not lie," she said. "It reveals the heart as it truly is. And you, human, have proven your spirit. You are no seeker of greed, no wanderer without loyalty. You are one who stands when others fall." Amira's face lit with relief and pride. She looked at her mother hopefully, waiting for her next words. The queen raised her hand. "Ravi of the Stars, today you have earned not only my respect but the right to stand in this hall as more than a stranger. Yet respect alone is not reward. The Empire does not forget loyalty." Her words echoed through the chamber, filling Ravi with wonder. He had walked through visions of his past, faced lies and temptations, and now stood stronger than before. He had nothing left of his armor, nothing left of his ship. Yet he had something far greater: trust. And though he did not yet know what reward awaited him, he knew this was the turning point of his journey. The grand hall of the palace was filled with quiet anticipation. The guards stood tall, the council waited in their seats, and Princess Amira's eyes never left Ravi. After the Hall of Echoes had tested him, the queen had spoken words that carried weight beyond honor or praise. Yet the human did not yet know what his true reward would be. The queen stepped forward, her robes flowing like silver water. "Ravi of the Stars," she said, her voice calm yet powerful, "your courage and loyalty have been shown clearly. The Hall of Echoes confirms what we all now see. You are brave, honest, and steadfast. You have protected my daughter when no one else could, and you have faced danger without fear." Ravi bowed deeply, feeling both relief and humility. "I only acted because it was right. I owe nothing, yet I could not leave her in danger." Amira smiled at him, her eyes bright with warmth. "And that is why he should be rewarded," she said firmly, stepping closer to her mother. "He saved my life. He saved our people from the machines. Mother, he deserves more than words."
"He deserves to be part of our world." The queen studied her daughter carefully.
Then she turned to the council, a group of elders who watched the ceremony with judgmental eyes. "Ravi has risked his life, faced the Hall of Echoes, and proven his loyalty. Therefore I declare that he shall be granted citizenship of the Velan Empire." Murmurs rose among the council members. Humans had never been given citizenship in Velan. They were wanderers, outsiders, and few were trusted. Yet the queen's decision was final, and her voice left no room for doubt. A guard stepped forward holding a small golden crest. The queen placed it in Ravi's hands. The crest glowed softly and Ravi felt warmth spread through him. It was a symbol not only of honor but of acceptance. He was now recognized as one of the Velan people. Ravi looked at Amira, astonishment and gratitude shining in his eyes. I am honored, Your Majesty. I did not expect such kindness." The queen's expression softened slightly. "It is not kindness alone. It is recognition of truth. You have proven your heart, and in our world the heart decides more than any law." Amira's voice broke the quiet of the hall. "Mother, I have another request." The council and the guards turned toward her, surprised. "I ask for Ravi to stand beside me, not just as a citizen but as my partner. I wish to marry him." The hall fell silent. Whispers rose among the council, and even the guards looked uncertain. To them, a human marrying a Velan princess was unthinkable. Yet Amira's gaze was steady, filled with certainty. Ravi's face turned red, and he looked down in humility. "Princess, I do not know if I am worthy of such honor. I am just a wanderer, a human far from home, but if you wish it, I will stand beside you." The queen studied them both, her eyes reflecting thought and judgment. For a long moment, no one spoke. Then she stepped forward, her voice calm and clear. "Amira, you may choose for yourself, and Ravi you may accept freely. If your choice is made from truth and loyalty, it shall be honored." Ravi lifted his gaze to meet Amira's. Her eyes were gentle but firm, filled with hope and trust. He nodded slowly, understanding the weight of this moment. "Then I accept," he said softly. Amira's lips curved into a smile, one that warmed the hearts of everyone in the hall. She stepped closer to Ravi, taking his hand in hers. The queen watched, her expression unreadable for a moment, then finally softened. "Very well," the queen said. By the authority of the Veylan Empire, I bless your union. Ravi of the Stars, you are now a citizen and an honored protector of our people. Amira, the princess, may your choice bring unity and hope to all. The council bowed, the guards relaxed, and the hall filled with a quiet, approving murmur. Citizens who had been watching from the balconies cheered softly, inspired by the courage and loyalty that had brought a human into their world. Ravi felt a strange mix of emotions. He had never imagined such honor, nor had he expected a place in a world so different from his own. Yet in that moment he understood that his journey had led him not to fame or power, but to connection and belonging. Amira squeezed his hand gently. You risked everything for me, she said softly. You are brave, and now you are home if you will accept it. Ravi looked at her, his heart full. I accept, Amira. I have nowhere else I would rather be. The queen raised her hand and the hall fell silent once more. Let the preparations begin, she said. A celebration of courage, loyalty, and union shall be held. Today a human and a princess shall join not only in heart but in purpose. Let all remember that strength comes not from race or origin, but from the truth of the spirit. The hall erupted in soft applause. Ravi and Amira stood together, hands clasped, hearts steady. Around them the empire witnessed a new beginning. The machines that had chased the princess, the dangers of the desert, and the trials of the Hall of Echoes were all behind them. Ahead lay a future built on trust, courage, and hope. Ravi looked at the golden crest in his hand, a symbol of acceptance, and then at Amira, whose eyes shone with joy. In that moment he understood that every choice he had made, every risk he had taken, had led to this, an unexpected reward far greater than any he could have imagined. The palace halls echoed with celebration as plans were made for the wedding and the welcome of a human into the empire. Ravi had begun as a wanderer lost in the stars, and now he was a protector, a citizen, and soon a partner to a princess. The journey had been long, the trials many, and the dangers real. Yet the courage of one human had broken barriers, saved a princess, and united worlds. The day of the wedding arrived under the twin suns of Veylan. The palace shone like a jewel in the light, its towers reflecting gold and silver across the city. Citizens gathered in the streets, their eyes wide with excitement. Guards lined the paths, their armor polished, and banners of the empire fluttered in the soft breeze. Ravi stood beside Amira, his heart beating fast, though he felt a calm determination deep inside. He had never imagined he would be here, in a place so beautiful, with a princess by his side. His journey had begun as a wanderer, a human alone in the vast galaxy, and now he was part of something greater. He had no armor left, no ship, yet he felt stronger than ever. His courage, loyalty, and heart had brought him to this moment. Amira looked radiant in her flowing silver robe, her hair shining in the sunlight. Her eyes met Ravi's, and she gave him a small, reassuring smile. Are you ready? She asked softly. Ravi nodded. I am. I will stand by you now and always. The Queen of Veylan stood at the front of the hall, her expression calm yet proud. She held a golden staff, a symbol of authority, and watched the gathering. Today, she began, we celebrate courage, loyalty, and trust. We celebrate the joining of two hearts, two worlds, and the strength of spirit that unites us all. Ravi and Amira stepped forward together, hand in hand, as the citizens cheered quietly. The hall was filled with soft music, the crystal walls reflecting the light like 1,000 stars. The council members nodded to one another, acknowledging the union that had begun not with wealth or power, but with bravery and truth. The queen raised her staff. Ravi of the Stars, you have faced danger without hesitation. You have walked through the Hall of Echoes and proven your heart. You have chosen loyalty and protection over safety and comfort. Do you accept Amira as your partner, to stand with her in life, in responsibility, and in joy? I do, Ravi said, his voice steady, though his heart raced. The queen turned to Amira. Amira, Princess of Veylan, you have chosen Ravi. Will you stand with him, trusting his heart and spirit, and honor the bond that has been forged through courage? I will, Amira replied, her eyes shining with sincerity and warmth. The queen smiled faintly and lowered her staff. Then by the power of the Veylan Empire, I declare you joined in union. May your courage and loyalty guide you, and may your hearts remain true in all that comes. A cheer rose from the citizens. Ravi and Amira bowed to the crowd, their hands still clasped. Around them, the empire celebrated. Not only the marriage of a princess and a human, but the joining of trust and bravery that had bridged worlds. Ravi looked at the golden crest of citizenship that still rested on his chest. He felt a deep sense of pride, not for the honor itself, but for the recognition that he had been accepted into a world that had once seemed impossible for him to enter. He was no longer just a wanderer. He belonged here. Amira leaned close and whispered, "You have given me more than life itself. You have given me trust, courage, and hope. Thank you." Ravi squeezed her hand gently. "And you have given me a home, a purpose, and a friend I will never leave. Together we will face whatever comes." The celebration continued through the day. Music played, lights shimmered along the palace walls, and the people of Velan smiled and cheered. Ravi was introduced to the council and the citizens, and though some were still cautious of a human, they could not deny his bravery. He had earned their respect through actions, not words. As evening approached, Ravi and Amira walked along a balcony overlooking the city. The twin suns had set, leaving a sky of purple and gold, and the city below glowed softly with light. The world felt vast yet intimate, as if the entire empire had folded around them to celebrate their union. "Do you think the citizens will ever fully trust me?" Ravi asked quietly. Amira smiled. "They will. It will take time, but you have already changed their minds. Your courage speaks louder than anything else. You are not just a human. They see a hero, a protector, and now a part of their world." Ravi looked at her and felt a warmth that went beyond the sun's light. "Then I will do everything I can to deserve this trust, to protect this world and you. I am ready for whatever comes next." Amira rested her head gently on his shoulder. "And we will face it together. Nothing will stand in our way if we are true to each other." The palace was quiet now, but the city continued to glow, filled with hope and life. Ravi had begun as a wanderer, lost in the stars, and now he had found a home, a purpose, and a partner. He had faced machines, danger, and trials, yet he had never faltered in his courage. As night fully descended over Velan, Ravi and Amira looked out at the horizon. The twin moons rose, casting soft light over the city, and the stars began to sparkle above. A new beginning had started, not only for them, but for the entire empire. Ravi felt a deep peace in his heart. He had broken the armor that once protected him, faced trials that tested his spirit, and risked everything for another. In return, he had gained not wealth or power, but something far greater: belonging, trust, and love. And as the stars shone over the empire, Ravi knew that his journey had only just begun. Together with Amira, he would protect, explore, and build a future where courage, loyalty, and the strength of the human heart could shine brighter than any star in the galaxy.